What is the biggest reason STEM talks flop? For example, you speak about your results, you speak about your work, and you feel that people are not actually there with you. Even though they are physically sitting in the same room, in the same conference room, in the same meeting room, you can feel that they are not really there. Meaning that no one is actually seeing your work, listening to you explain your work, and they really don't care about that. So how can we fix that from the very beginning? A common mistake that I see people doing there is simply explaining what is it that they did. Now, don't get me wrong, there is nothing wrong when you have to explain your work to explain exactly what you did, but you have to give sort of a twist to it. You cannot actually explain just what you did. You have to provide them with the context that will invite them into your thinking process. When I say that, I see that people are typically, when they are explaining their work, what they do, they just list facts, right? We did this and then this happened and we did this and then this happened and so on. And this is okay if you are talking mainly to a STEM audience, because we are as STEM professionals, whether you are a scientist, engineer, data scientist, developer, we are trained to think in this sort of paradigm, right? We did this and then this happened, and we did this and then this happened. However, people who are from other fields, they are not actually trained to think this much into this cause and consequence. What they care much more is the impact of your work. So this brings me to the point of what actually does work and how we are supposed to explain our work and really share our work with others. We have to talk about its impact. We have to learn to discuss and talk why this specific thing that we did actually matters to them. And in order to do that, there are several things we have to take into account, but we have to, first of all, develop this skill of recognize what our audience needs from us. For example, let's say that you are applying for funding. The funding agency probably doesn't speak your jargonic language. So the person who is going to read your report, the person who is going to be there in your presentation and listen to it is very likely not a STEM professional. Or if they are probably not an expert in your super narrow specific field. So the entire point is to develop this skill of making it easy for them. And how can we make it easy for them? By explaining why should they care. And do that from the very beginning of your talk or very beginning of your report till the very end. And constantly keep reminding them throughout our talk, throughout our report, why is it that they should keep reading or keep listening. That's the skill, that's the magic. That's what really sells your work. Even if you're applying for funding, it sells your work, but it's actually this skill of selling your work, even when you are in a meeting with your boss, even when you are in a meeting with your teammates. This is where you have the opportunity to position yourself as the expert that you are. And this only happens when others see why your work is relevant, see why your work is important. And to do that, you have to make it tangible. You have to make it tangible and impactful in a way that actually impacts them, in a way that makes sense to them. So developing that skill is not only worth because of your career progress and being recognized as the expert that you are, or as my dear client says, stop being invisible at work, but it also saves you a bunch of time. Because think about every time you have to present your work or prepare a presentation or prepare a report and you're there struggling thinking, where do I even start from? What do I do? How do I fix this problem? How do I put all of this noise and information that I have in my head into something that makes sense first to me and then to others? So if you do not want to be stuck in that loop every 3 months, every quarter, when you have to explain your quarterly progress, I invite you to join my coaching program in which we tackle exactly that. So I am a STEM communication coach. I'm also a biophysicist, and I teach STEM professionals, so scientists, engineers, developers, data scientists, how to make their work seen, how to stop being the invisible person at work, how to make sure that their project is getting the funding they deserve. Because it all boils down to how do we express our contribution, how do we explain our work. And this is exactly what I teach you how to do. So if you're interested in something like that, I will leave a link down below where you can schedule a completely free discovery call with me where we can talk about exactly that. Your current challenges, your current struggles. What is it that you are currently struggling in when it comes to communication in your STEM career? And of course, see if we are a good fit to work together. So I hope you found this video useful and see you very soon with another video. Bye bye.